Evan Cole hated the quiet. On Outpost K7, quiet meant someone was moving where they should not be. The workshop lights hummed while he repaired a cargo drone. Then the motion sensor above the door blinked. Evan froze. Nobody came to his bay this. Late, the sensor blinked again. A shadow covered the small window too wide. Evan reached for the emergency latch that sealed the door and called security. His finger hovered. Because the shadow did not press it, because the shadow did not move like a human, it shifted slowly. It's like it was carrying weight. A soft breath followed, trembling, not a growl, not a threat. Then faint wet taps against metal tiers. Evan turned off the welder. The sudden silence made the air feel colder. He walked to the door, careful and quiet, and looked through the window. Two golden eyes stared back at him. They were not angry. They were desperate. His mind shouted, "Don't open it." Dragons did not visit human workshops. A dragon at his door meant trouble. But those eyes looked like someone running out of time. A heavy thump sounded, as if something had been set down right in front of the door. Evan unlocked the door, opened it a small crack. Cold air rushed in. A mother dragon filled the doorway, lowering her head to fit. Her breathing was fast, strained. Burn marks lined her jaw. In front of her lay a cub. The cub was small, curled tight. Pale silver scales, a weak blue glow under them. His breathing was thin, like a candle in wind. Evan's throat went dry. The mother dragon nudged the cub forward with a gentle claw. Tears slid down her face and steamed. She tried to speak. Her voice came out rough and broken. Human. Man. Evan kept his hands visible. "What happened? He's sick," she said. "Not born wrong. Made wrong." Evan's eyes dropped to the cub's chest, under the scales. A small red blink pulsed too regular to be a heartbeat, a signal, a tracker. Evan felt his skin prickle. Who put that in him? The dragon looked away. "If I say, you die," Evan swallowed. "Then why come here?" She leaned closer. "Because human hands fix what others throw away." Evan went still. That was an old station saying. Dragons did not learn human words like that by accident. Down the corridor, tiny light drifted past. Small, round, silent. A patrol drone. The mother dragon saw it too. Fear sharpened her eyes. She pushed the cub closer. "Help him. It's..." Evan's mind raced. If station security found her, panic would spread. If hunters followed the tracker, they would take the cub. They might take Evan too. Evan made a choice. He stepped forward and lifted the cub with both arms. The little body was fever warm. The cub made a weak sound and pressed its head into Evan's jacket, as if it understood kindness. The mother dragon released a breath like a prayer inside. Evan said. Now he backed into the workshop. The mother dragon followed, wings tight. Evan shut the door and locked it. He wrapped the cub in a thick blanket and set him near a heater vent. The blue glow steadied. Just a little. Evan grabbed his handheld scanner and swept it over the cub's chest. The device beeped and flashed warnings. Foreign hardware. Deep implant. Active transmitter. Evan's jaw tightened. This is not sickness, he muttered. This is control. The mother dragon bowed her head. They call him Key. Evan looked up. Key to what? She did not answer. Instead, her head snapped toward the ceiling, listening. Her claws dug into the floor. Too late, she whispered. The workshop lights flickered once, twice, then. Everything went black. In the darkness, the station loudspeaker crackled, and a cold official voice filled the air. Attention. An authorized life form detected in Sector 9. Boarding team en route. Seal your doors. Metal rang in the corridor. Keycop beeped again. Someone tested his door once, twice, then laughed. The mother dragon spread her wings, shaking. Evan whispered, Stay quiet. The cub stirred. Evan pulled the cub close. Outside, heavy footsteps started running toward his workshop. The workshop stayed black. Only the emergency strip on Evan's scanner glowed faint green. In that thin light, the mother dragon Sarah looked even bigger, even more trapped. Her wings were half open like a shield, but her knees shook. Outside the door, metal boots stopped. A calm voice spoke through the intercom, friendly on purpose. Workshop Bay 9. Open up, citizen, routine inspection. Evan did not move. His heart hammered, but his hand stayed steady. He pulled the cub Kia closer to his chest. The little dragon's breath was still weak. Too weak to run. Too weak to hide for long. The red blink under. Kio's scales pulsed again like a lighthouse. Evan leaned close to Sierra and whispered, "If they take him, will they kill you?" Sierra's eyes shined with tears in the darkness. "They will call me traitor. They will take my son. They'll break him." A click sounded outside, then another. They were scanning the lock. Evan's mind raced. The outpost had rules. The rules said, never block a security team. But the voice did not sound like station security. It sounded too smooth, too patient. Loud beep. The door seal started to unlock. Evan hissed. Back corner. Quiet. He guided Sierra toward the storage wall where scrap parts hung like metal ribs. She folded her wings tightly. Evan grabbed a long tool case and pulled it open. Inside was old human gear dumb tech, the kind aliens ignored because it had no network. Evan took out a smoke canister, used for fire drills, and a small heat pack from emergency supplies. He shoved the heat pack into a broken repair drone and pushed the drone under a table on the far side of the workshop. Then he rolled the smoke canister toward the door. The door shuddered. A sharp sound split the air metal. Cutting metal, they were slicing. Through, Kio made a tiny whine. Evan pressed his hand gently over the cub's head. Stay with me, he murmured. Even though he was not sure the cub understood words, the cutting stopped. A thin line of white light appeared at the door seam. Then the door burst inward. 3 figures stepped in. The first wore dark armor. With a smooth helmet, the second carried a compact rifle. The third was not a dragon. He was human. Evan's stomach dropped. The human mercenary's visor turned left, then right. He's here, he said. Tracker is strong. Claws scraped the floor. Low growl rose in her throat. The armored leader lifted a hand. Easy. We want the cub alive. Alive. Evan hated how cold that word sounded. The mercenary raised a scanner, and the screen flashed. Royal blood signature confirmed, he said. Payment doubles? Royal blood? Evan stared at Kio. The cub was shaking. Small, soft, innocent. How could something so little be royal? The leader stepped forward slowly, like he had all the time in the galaxy. Human, he said, toward the darkness. Be smart. Hand over the package. You walk away. The package. Evan's jaw tightened. He rolled the smoke canister switch with his boot. A hiss erupted. Thick gray smoke flooded the doorway first, then spread across the floor like fog. Alarms started to chirp, confused, searching for fire that wasn't there. The mercenary coughed. What the Evan triggered the broken drone's power cell with a quick remote tap. The heat pack flared instantly. The mercenary scanner snapped toward the drone. Target moving. Left side. The hunters rushed toward the wrong corner. Evan moved the opposite way fast, silent, carrying Kio in both arms. He reached the maintenance hatch behind a shelf and yanked it open. Sierra followed.
Ow.
Limping but quiet, her eyes wide with shock, Evan whispered, "This way." They crawled into the narrow maintenance tunnel, metal scraping under Sierra's claws. Evan pulled the hatch closed behind them. Inside the tunnel it was colder, tighter. It smelled like dust and wires. Behind them, the workshop shook with angry footsteps. The mercenary's voice barked, "He tricked us. Seal the sector." A new voice cut in over the cub's deeper. Not human. Do not use explosives. The cub must not be damaged. Evan froze. That voice wasn't station security either. It sounded like a dragon commander. Sierra's face twisted with fear. "They brought a commander," she whispered. "Will not stop." Evan swallowed. Then we don't stop either. He crawled faster, following the tunnel map in his memory. The maintenance lines led to the cargo by open space, ships, exits. But as they reached the next junction, a red light blinked on the wall panel. Sector lockdown active. A steel gate. Dropped with a heavy slam, sealing the tunnel ahead. Evan stared at it. Stunned, then Keo's chest glowed bright and blue, stronger than before. The cub lifted his head slightly, and the red tracker blinked wildly, like it was screaming their location. The cub was not just being tracked, he was being called. From the other side of the gate, a calm voice echoed through a vent, close and clear. Human Evan Cole. Open the path. Give us the cub, and your mother dragon may live. Evan's blood turned to ice, because the voice said his name, and Evan had never told anyone his name tonight. Evan Cole, the vent voice said, smooth and close.
Ow!
Open the gate. 40 seconds. Sierra pressed against the tunnel wall, wings shaking. In Evan's arms, the cub Kia felt too light. Under the blanket, a red blink pulsed in a steady rhythm. How do they know my name? Evan whispered. Sierra's eyes narrowed. Someone is feeding them your records. The outpost speakers crackled. Gas sweep in maintenance line 12. 20 seconds. A faint hiss started above them. Evan looked at the steel gate blocking. The tunnel, the control panel was dead. No power, no keypad. Just a cold slab of metal between them and escape. Keo made a tiny whine and gripped Evan's sleeve. That small grip forced Evan's choice. Evan froze. They all ended here. Hold. Your breath, Evan said. Cover him. Sierra folded one wing over Evan and Keo like a shield. Evan pulled his collar up and popped the panel cover with a flat tool. Inside were wires and a manual corralled hardware. The vent voice returned, amused. Hand over the cub. Walk away. Evan ignored it and bridged 2 wires. The panel flickered one weak line of light, then Keo's blue glow rose. Brighter, like a lamp turning on. Evan froze. The cub's glow was reacting to the panel. Sierra swallowed hard. His seal, Evan asked. Royal mark, Sierra said quickly.
Ah.
A living key. That is why they hunt him. The hiss grew stronger. Gas slid into the tunnel, thin and pale. Evan pressed his palm to the panel. Nothing. He pressed again. Still nothing. Evan's pulse hammered. He guided Keo closer, careful not to jolt the cub's weak body. Come on, he breathed. Just one door. Keo's glow flared. The panel lit up fully. A symbol appeared. Spiral with 3 cuts through it. Evan's stomach dropped. He had seen that symbol on a rusty metal tag his father called luck. Evan had worn it once as a kid. The gate lock clicked. Metal groaned. The steel gate lifted. Sierra stared, shocked. It opened. Evan didn't answer. He crawled through first, pulling Sierra after him. Behind them, the gas hiss turned angry. Filling the space they had been trapped in, Evan slapped the panel again and forced the gate to drop. It slammed down. On the far side, muffled shouts and pounding boots erupted. Evan kept moving. The next tunnel ended at a hatch labeled Cargo Spine Access. He shoved it open and stepped onto a narrow catwalk above the cargo bay. Below, ships slept under dim lights. Patrol drones drifted in slow loops. Then a hunter squad poured onto the hangar floor, scanner sweeping. Keo's red blink went wild. One hunter looked up and pointed. They're under us, Sierra whispered. Evan spotted a small service pod hanging on a rail near a maintenance exit. Old, human-made, manual controls. No network. Come, Evan whispered. Small ship. Fast choice. He ran along the catwalk. Sierra limped after him, silent despite her size. Evan threw open the pod hatch and strapped Keo into the single seat. Keo's eyes opened, tired, watery. But locked on Evan, as if Evan was the only safe thing left, Sierra could not fit inside. She pressed her forehead to the pod frame. I fly with you. You're hurt, Evan said. I'm his mother, Sierra replied. That is enough. Below, hunters raised weapons. A deep voice boomed through the hangar speakers, confident. Enclose, Evan Cole. Stop. The pod will be disabled. Evan gripped the lever and slammed it down. The service pod dropped from the rail and shot forward. Along the cargo spine with a screaming whine. Netline snapped past, missing by inches. Drones turned and chased. Sierra launched into the open bay, wings wide, shielding the pod for one precious heartbeat. Ahead. The maintenance exit light turned green by itself, as if granting permission. To run, the pod's small screen flickered. Not a station alert, not a security warning. A single, clean message appeared, like something ancient had been waiting behind the metal. Welcome, human key. Evan's hands went numb on the controls because the message was not for KIO, it was for Evan. Asterisk, the service pod burst into open space. Outpost K7 shrank behind them. Sierra flew beside the pod, wounded but refusing to fall. Evan gripped the manual controls. Screen still showed, welcome, human key. Keo stirred. His blue glow pulsed softly. The red tracker blinked too, but weaker. Now, as if the blue was pushing it down. Sierra's voice came through the link. Drones. 3. Evan checked the rear camera. 300 drones closed fast. Target lock chirped. Evan rolled the pod. A netline snapped past the canopy. Another scraped the hull with a loud screech. Sierra lunged and hit one drone aside. To stayed on them, splitting left and right, patient like machines. We can't outrun them, Evan said. Then we hide, Sierra answered. Where? Evan snapped. The screen changed by itself. A thin white route drew across the map, no label. No station code. The pod's engine power rose without Evan touching anything. Evan went still. Keo's glow brightened. The pod followed the route like it was being pulled. Sierra breathed out one shaky word. Ark. The route led into a drifting wreck field. The drones chased, but their lock tone began to stutter. Finding Evan, losing him, finding him again. A giant shadow filled the window ahead. A cracked, dark ship wrapped in ice dust.
Us.
Faint symbols glimmered on its side, the spiral with 3 cuts. The Quiet Ark. Sierra whispered. The pod slowed on its own and drifted toward a broken hangar. Mouth. The drones stopped at the edge and circled, but none entered. The screen flashed : entered. Evan swallowed. If it's a trap, if we stay outside, we die, Sierra said. Evan guided the pod inside. Darkness swallowed them. For a moment, only Keo's breathing existed. Then Keo's blue light spread, and thin lines of light woke along the walls. Like sleeping stars, a panel flickered on. It was human-made. Evan stepped onto cold metal. Sierra landed behind him, hiding pain. Keo watched the panel, eyes open and focused. The panel displayed, palm print required. It wants me, Evan muttered. He pressed his palm to the panel. Warmth ran up his arm. The old metal tag under his shirt heated against his skin. It outshocked. The spiral symbol was etched into the tag. The panel read it like an ID. Deep inside the Ark, locks clicked. Long lights ignited and rose. A sealed door opened with a heavy, patient groan. A voice spoke from everywhere at once. Calm, clear, human. Welcome back, Linekeeper. Evan's mouth went dry. Linekeeper, Royal Hatchling is present, the Ark said. A leash. Signal is active. Removal is possible. Sierra stepped forward, hope and fear mixing. You can remove it? Yes, the Ark replied, but not without cost. Evan clenched his fists. What cost? The Ark projected an old recording on the hangar wall. It's a human hand holding a dragon hatchling, gentle and steady. Text appeared. Beneath it, bond required to break chains. Evan looked at Keo. The cub looked back, trusting like he had already chosen. Outside, the drones stopped circling. They turned at once. As if they had received a new order, a larger shadow slid over the hangar mouth. A dragon warship arrived, weapons glowing faintly, and over the coms. The same calm voice from the station vent returned. Found you, Evan Cole. Stand. Down the Ark belongs to the crown. The warship's lights swept the hangar. Small dots dropped from its belly boarding pods. Sierra's face tightened. Crown retrieval, she whispered. Evan's scanner buzzed. Keo's red blink flared bright again like it was answering the warship. The cub whimpered and grabbed Evan's sleeve. The Ark's voice returned, colder now. External takeover. Detected, time remaining, 60 seconds. 60 seconds for what? Evan asked. For bond activation, the Ark said. Without bond, the leash cannot be broken. Without bond, the Ark will not shield you. A new prompt pulsed on the panel. Place hands. Speak the vow. Evan looked at Sierra. Sierra looked at Keo, then back at Evan, begging. Outside, the first boarding. Pods slammed into the hangar mouth. Metal began to bend inward. They are coming inside. The hangar mouth screamed as metal tore. A boarding pod clanged against the Ark's frame and drilled in, sparks spraying like orange rain. Evan backed up instinctively, shielding Keo with his body. Sierra moved in front of them, wings spread wide, but her legs shook from blood loss. Evan, Sierra whispered, voice tight, if they take him, he will never be free. The Ark's panel pulsed again. Place hands. Speak the vow. Time. 48 seconds. Evan stared at the words. A vow, he muttered. This is insane. Outside, boots hit metal. Voices shouted orders. A deep, commanding tone cut through them all, sharp and proud. Secure the hatchling. Kill any resistance. Bring the human alive. Alive. Evan's stomach clenched. They did not want him dead. That meant they wanted him useful. Keo whimpered. His blue glow flickered, fighting the red blink under his scales. Evan realized something. Terrible. They're not tracking him, Evan said softly. They're using him to track me, Sierra's eyes widened. You are the key. Evan's fingers tightened around the old metal tag. It burned against his palm as if agreeing. The Ark spoke, calm but urgent. Bond must begin now, or the leash will complete its lock. Complete, Evan demanded. The leash will harden, the Ark said. Hatchling. Keo let out a thin sound, half pain, half fear. Evan felt it. Like a punch. He didn't have time to argue. Evan stepped to the panel and pressed his left hand down. Sierra, he said, bring him. Sierra hesitated for one heartbeat, then gently placed Keo's small claw onto the panel beside Evan's hand. The cub's claw shook, the panel warmed. Light ran out from their hands in thin lines, like a web. Spreading across the floor das, YRRA gasped as the lines reached her feet too. Touching her without asking, Evan swallowed. What is this? A safety weave, the Ark answered. Old human design. It links protector to protected. The countdown dropped. 32, 31, 30. Outside, the hangar wall finally gave. A slice of bright weapon light cut into the darkness. The squad poured in 6 hunters in black armor, weapons raised. Behind them walked a tall dragon in silver war plating, his crest marked with a thin crown symbol, Commander. His voice was smooth, almost polite. Human Evan Cole, he said. Away from the hatchling. The crown thanks you for your service. Evan did not move. The commander's eyes flicked to the panel glow. His smile thinned. Ah, you found the Ark. That makes you more valuable than we hoped. Sierra bared her teeth. Valkyrin, she growled. You leashed my son. The commander Valkyrin tilted. His head. Mother Sierra. You should have stayed loyal. He lifted a hand. 2 hunters aimed at Sierra's wings. 1 hunter aimed at Evan's chest. Evan's throat went dry. He could not outfight them. He could not outfly them. He could only keep Keo alive long enough to break the leash. Ark, Evan whispered. What vow? The panel changed, showing simple words, easy, plain, human. Say, I will not use you. I will protect you. I will let you choose. Evan stared. His voice shook, but he spoke. I will not use you, Evan said, loud enough to carry. I will protect you. I will let you choose. Keo's blue glow flared. The red blink stuttered. Valkyrin's eyes hardened. Stop that. A hunter fired. A sharp crack echoed. Evan braced for pain, but nothing hit him. A thin, clear shield snapped into place between Evan and the gunfire like glass made from light. The shot splashed against it and vanished. Sira gasped. Ark, the Ark listens to vows, Valkyrin said, voice suddenly cold. Then we will cut the vow out of you. He stepped forward, claws scraping metal. Take the cub now. To hunters rushed. The Ark's floor lines brightened, and the air vibrated. A low hum rolled through the hangar like a warning growl. Keo lifted his head fully, his eyes once dull with sickness, sharpened with strange clarity. He stared at Valkyrin and made a sound small, but strong. The red blink under his scales flickered hard, like it was trying to obey the commander. Then the blue glow surged and pushed it down. Evan felt heat spread up his arm from the panel like a circuit closing. Ark, Evan gasped. Remove it. Removal begins, the Ark said. Hold steady. Do not break contact. Valkyrin's smile returned. Dangerous. So the human is bonded, he murmured. Perfect. He raised a small device in his hand, a black control shard. Keos. Body jerked. The cub cried out. Evan's blood ran cold. What are you doing to him? Valkyrin's eyes glittered. Testing my leash. And testing your bond. Keo's claw slipped on the panel for a moment, trembling. The Ark's countdown flashed red. Bond unstable. Time. 9 seconds. Evan grabbed Keo's claw and pressed it back down with gentle force. Stay with me, he whispered. Just stay. Keos. Breathing hitched. Valkyrin stepped closer, voice soft like poison. Let go, human. I can end his pain. Evan's jaw tightened.
Ow.
The Ark's lights roared brighter, and in the same second, the panel displayed a final message. Leash cut. Partial? Second lock detected. Evan's heart dropped. Second lock, the Ark answered. Grim, the leash has 2 masters. Valkyrin smiled wider. Yes, he said. And the second master is already on the way. Behind Valkyrin, the hangar. Shook again, this time from something much larger docking with the Ark. A new voice echoed through the metal. Deep and royal, open the Ark, by order of the Queen. Sira went pale, because the Queen's ship had arrived. Asterisk. Asterisk. The Ark trembled as a heavy ship latched onto its outer frame. A deep voice rolled through the metal. Open the Ark, by order of the Queen. Valkyrin bowed, but his smile stayed sharp. Sira's eyes widened. She came, she whispered. That means the crown wants Keo now, today. Evan kept one hand on the glowing panel and the other around Keo's tiny claw. The cub's blue glow was stronger, but the red blinked still. Pulsed under his scales like a hidden alarm. The Ark spoke only to Evan. Second master signal confirmed. Evan's throat tightened. The Queen is the second lock. Correct, the Ark replied. 2 masters, 2 chains. Footsteps clanged at the hangar mouth. A line of guards entered in perfect order. In the center walked a dragon in gold. Armor, crown mark on her brow, Queen Oralith. Behind her floated a holoscreen showing a pulse map. A red dot blinked where Keo stood. Evan felt cold. Even inside the Ark, she could see the signal. Orelith's eyes found Evan, human linekeeper. She said, You stand in crown property. Valkyrin spoke fast. My queen, the mother is a traitor, and the human is bonded. Give the word in silence, Oralith said. Vaulkr, and stopped mid-breath, face hardening as if an invisible hand squeezed. Him, Sira stared. The Queen could leash him too. Sira lowered her head. My queen, please. My son is not a weapon. Oralith looked at Keo. For a moment her gaze softened then turned to stone. He carries a key mark, she said. This Ark will answer him, or it will answer you. She looked back to Evan. Humans built this place to limit dragons. You are that limit. Evan forced, his voice steady. Then why hunt a baby? Because the galaxy hunts first, Oralith replied. If we do not control Skychain, another empire will. She stepped closer. Give me the hatchling. I will remove the leash. I will spare you. I will spare Sira. Spare, not free. The Ark flashed a warning on the panel for Evan alone. IF. You release the protected, the weave ends. Keo pressed his nose against Evan's wrist. Evan understood. The cub was choosing him again. Evan met the Queen's stare. I believe you can remove it, he said. But I don't believe you will let him choose. A low murmur ran through the guards. Valkyrie's smile returned. Dares. Aurella's voice stayed calm. Choice is a luxury. Survival is law. Evan's mind raced. He could not fight the Queen. He could not outrun her ship. But humans did not win by size. They won by finding the rules that even kings had to face. Ark, Evan said loudly. What authority does a linekeeper have? The Ark answered for all to hear. Linekeeper may call, trial of intent. The Ark will judge truth by vow. Sira gasped. Valkyrie frowned, suddenly unsure. Orlith's eyes narrowed. A trial. Evan nodded. If you want him, speak a vow. The Ark accepts. He pointed to Keo. Say you will not use him as a key. Say you will let him choose his path. His silence hit the hangar. Orlith stepped close, her shadow covering Evan and Keo. You ask a queen to kneel to human words. Ask a mother to be honest, Evan said. After a long beat, Orlith gave a small, dangerous smile. Very well, I accept. The Ark's floor lit up, drawing a pale circle around them like a court. Speak, the Ark said. Orlith lifted her chin. I vow the hatchling will live. Incomplete, the Ark replied instantly. Orlith's jaw tightened. I vow. The leash will be removed. Incomplete. Hope hit Evan's chest like a spark. Sira's tears returned. Orlith stared at Keo, anger and grief mixing in her eyes. I vow. A violent boom cut her off. The Ark shook. Warning lights flared. Dust fell. Valkyrie's cum unit crackled. Unknown fleet. Not crown. Multiple ships. The Ark's voice turned urgent. Third-party breach. Another empire has arrived. Evan's blood went cold because the trial had just exposed the Queen's truth. And now the galaxy had come to steal the key. Red warning lights raced across the Ark's hangar. Third-party fleet, the Ark announced. Unknown empire. They are locking onto the hatchling's leash signal. Queen Orlith's guards tightened their circle. Valkyrie's smile returned, sharp as a blade. Keo's blue glow trembled in Evan's arms. Under it, the red blink still pulsed, steady, loud, calling. A deep pulse hit the Ark. The hangar went dead silent. No comes, no holoscreens. Only the Ark's internal lights stayed. Alive, EMP, Evan whispered. They want us blind. 7 minutes until breach, the Ark said. They will cut through my outer frame. Orlith stepped close to Evan. Give me the hatchling now. I will protect him. Evan didn't move. Say the full vow. Say you will not use him. Orlith's jaw tightened. She looked at Keo, then away. I cannot. Sira's breath broke. So you were going to use him, Valkyrie? Chuckled. A queen who cannot vow? How perfect, Orlith snapped. Enough. Another tremor rolled through the walls, slow cutting. Patient and strong. Evan forced his voice calm. We can argue later. Right now, another empire is coming through that door. They take Keo, none of us will control anything. Orlith's eyes narrowed. And what can a human do? Evan pointed at the old human panels along the hangar. Wall. Humans don't beat dragons by size. We beat signals. We beat systems. Time is limited, the Ark warned. Then give me maintenance access, Evan said. Valkyrie stepped forward. My queen Orlith raised a claw, stopping him. If I allow this, she said to Evan, you do not run. Evan met her stare. I can't run. The cub is bonded to me, and your warship is outside. The Ark opened a side panel with a soft hiss. A manual port appeared, stamped with one word, Linekeeper. Evan's old metal tag heated against his skin like it recognized home. Outside, the cutting sound grew louder. 6 minutes, the Ark said. Evan slid his tag into the port. The Ark's lights shifted from red to pale blue. A map unfolded layered systems, simple and clean, built for human hands. Orlith leaned in despite herself. What is that? A jammer grid, Evan said. The leash is broadcasting. That broadcast is guiding the enemy fleet. Bakran scoffed. Cannot silence royal blood? Evan didn't look up. Not the blood, the broadcast. He turned to Sarah. I need Kio's blue steady. His blue is fighting the red. If his blue wins, I can force the leash into quiet mode. Sarah's voice cracked. He's exhausted. Knelt and spoke softly to Kio. You don't have to be strong. Just stay with me. Kio's breathing slowed. The cub pressed his forehead to Evan's wrist. A new prompt pulsed on the Ark panel. Bond option available. Transfer control path. Light. Why, Niven froze. Transfer control? The Ark replied, calm and dangerous. If the hatchling chooses you as master, the royal locks can be overridden. But the second chain must attach to a protector. Aurelius stiffened. The Queen's chain, Sarah whispered. Evan, no. The Ark shook again. For minutes it announced. Valkyrie's eyes glittered. Do it, human, or watch them take him. Evan looked at Kio. The cub lifted a trembling claw and placed it on Evan's old tag. Like he understood the choice. The Ark chimed once, like a judge. Choice detected, the Ark said. Hatchling chooses, Evan Cole. Orlith stepped back. Shocked. That is not possible. Evan's finger hovered over the panel. If he pressed yes, he would carry the second chain. If he pressed no, the third party would break in and take Kio anyway. The cutting outside turned into a loud, tearing grind. Evan breathed out slowly. Then he pressed yes. The Ark's lights flared blue. Kio's red blink stuttered. Shh, and for the first time went quiet, deep inside the Ark. Something ancient began to wake. The silence lasted only a heartbeat. A new voice boomed through the Ark's hull. Not crown, not human, cold and certain. Linekeeper. We see you. Open the Ark, and you will be rewarded. The Ark's map flashed. A second symbol lit up, huge and locked behind warning signs. Skychain core access unsealed. Sierra stared at the words. Orlith went still. Valkyrin whispered, smiling. Now the real war begins. The Ark's lights burned a steady, icy blue. On the main wall, the words stayed bright like a threat and a promise. Skychain core access unsealed. Outside the hull, the unknown fleet kept cutting. Their voice returned, calm as death. Line. Keeper Evan Cole. Open the Ark. Hand over the hatchling. You will be rewarded with a world. Evan's hands shook, but he kept Kio close. The cub's red blink was finally quiet, no longer screaming their location. Kio's blue glow now pulsed like a steady heart. Sierra stared at her son, tears sliding down her face. He chose you, she whispered. He chose a human. Queen Orlith's gold armor caught the blue light, making her look like a statue. A hatchling cannot choose outside blood, she said, but her voice had lost its certainty. Valkyrin's smile twitched. He murmured, eyes sharp. Because humans built the rule, the Ark spoke, low and firm. Breach in 2 minutes. External forces will reach the core if my inner doors fail. Evan looked at the linekeeper panel. Displayed 2 paths, Skychain mode, weapon, shield default. W.A. Poe and Evan's throat tightened. So this is what they want, he muttered. A weapon. Orlith stepped closer, voice controlled. Skychain is not a myth. It can bind fleets. It can pull ships out of the sky. It can end wars before they start. And start them forever, Evan said. Another tremor ran through the Ark. The cutting was nearly through. Evan turned to the SCO. You couldn't vow to not use Kio. But do you want another empire to take him? Orlith's eyes flashed. No, then help me, Evan said. Not as a queen, as someone who doesn't want a child turned into a key. Sierra lifted her head. My queen, if you have any mercy left, prove it now. Orlith's gaze flicked to Sierra, then to Kio. For one breath, the queen looked tired, not powerful. She spoke quietly. Valkyrin, Stand down. Valkyrie's claws flexed. My queen now, Orlith snapped. Valkyrie stopped, but his eyes burned with anger. Evan didn't waste the moment. He leaned into the panel. Ark, what happens if I switch to shield? Skychain will bind to defensive protocols. The Ark replied. It will protect. It will reject conquest commands. And the leash, even asked. The leash can be fully cut, the Ark said. But the second chain is on you now, Linekeeper. If you fall, the system can be stolen. Ben's stomach dropped, so I become the target. You already are, Sierra whispered. A new alarm blared. Breach. 45 seconds. The unknown fleet's voice came again. Closer now, like they were speaking through the cutting hole. You have no time, human. Open the Ark. Evan looked at Keo. The cub's eyes were open small, bright, trusting. The cub pressed his claw against Evan's chest. Right over the old tag. Evan took a slow breath. Then he turned the setting, Skychain mode. Sa-ta-ah, the Ark's entire hangar vibrated. A deep hum rose, not violent, but massive, like a planet waking up. Outside, cutting stopped suddenly. The unknown fleet's voice snapped, startled. What did you do? Answered with cold certainty. Linekeeper has chosen shield. Mode. Aggressor access denied. Orlith's guards stared as blue light poured into the corridors and walls. Symbols ignited across the Ark like constellations. Then the breach point where the enemy had almost cut through froze. The metal sealed itself, flowing shut like it had never been touched. The enemy fleet's voice turned sharp. Impossible. Evan didn't relax. He pointed at the next prompt flashing on the panel. Cut leash final step requires. 2 VOWS 2 vows. Evan glanced at Orlith. It needs you, he said. The second master. Orlith's jaw tightened. You trick me. Into swearing. No, Evan said, voice steady. I give you a chance to be better than Valkyrie. Valkyrie stepped forward, furious. My queen, do not, Sarah snarled, a sound full of pain. Silence, leashmaker. Orlith stared at Keo, the cubs. Blue glow reflected in her eyes. She spoke slowly, as if each word cost something. I vow. The hatchling will not be used as a key for conquest. The Ark chimed once. Vow accepted. Oralith's breath caught. She continued, quieter. I vow. The hatchling will choose his own path. The Ark chimed again, louder. Second vow accepted. Keo's body shivered. The red blink under his scales flashed once, then died, like a light being turned off forever. The Ark spoke. Leash severed. Sierra collapsed to her knees, a broken sob escaping her. She pressed her forehead to Keo, trembling. Free, she whispered. My baby is free. Balkrin's face twisted, hatred boiling through his calm mask. You ruined everything, he hissed at Evan. That power should belong to the crown. Evan looked at him. Power shouldn't belong to anyone who needs a child to hold it. Valkyrie lunged. His claws reached for Keo, but Skychain's defensive weave snapped alive like lightning in air. Invisible force slammed Valkyrie to the floor, pinning him. His armor groaned. He couldn't move. The Ark's voice was flat. Aggressor restrained. Orlith stared down at Valkyrie, then at Evan. Her pride fought with something else, maybe shame. Human, she said. You have changed the rules. Evan swallowed. No, he said. Keo changed them. He chose. Outside, the unknown. Fleet's voice returned, now furious and distant. This is not over. The Ark's shield brightened. Space beyond the hangar window shimmered an enormous blue barrier, spreading outward like a dome. The enemy ships backed away, their weapons useless against a defense that refused to become a weapon. Sierra lifted Keo into her arms carefully. The cub was weak, but his breathing was steady now, natural. He turned his head and looked at Evan then. Keo made a soft sound, almost a word. E. Evan's chest tightened. Hey, he whispered. You're okay. Act. Orlith exhaled slowly. The galaxy will come again, she said. They will fear this shield. They will hate that. It cannot be stolen. Evan nodded. Then we build something bigger than fear. The Ark's panel displayed a final line. Line keeper status. Active next directive. Formella Lee and C.I. Evan looked at Syrah, then at Orlith, a mother dragon, a queen, and a human mechanic, standing inside an ancient machine that could have ended worlds. Instead, it had become a shield. And somewhere in the dark, the galaxy was already planning its next move.